Well met, and welcome back to Passivecore, the challenge series where our dwarven rogue adventurer, Lhaghass, isn't allowed to craft war in a world of Warcraft. When we last left our pacifist, Lhaghass had made it to level 5, an admirable achievement considering he can only obtain experience via selected quests and exploration in this challenge. Remember, this is classic World of Warcraft, meaning no XP via gathering professions. And we're using the Ultra Hardcore add-on. But, of course, this journey is just the beginning. If you're enjoying the challenge, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and drop a comment below. I'm also live streaming this over at DZTV on Twitch and right here on YouTube. No gameplay of this run will ever be conducted outside of a live stream. So, this week we log back inside of Ironforge, and as mentioned in the last episode, it's Winter Veil at the time of recording. This puts a bit of a timer on us to reap as many rewards as possible. There's gingerbread cookies and eggnog recipes sold by the Goblin Helper, both of which could be very useful later on in the market. Unfortunately, at only level 5, there's not much else I could actually do during Winter Veil right now. No presents, no quests from Great Father Winter. But that's exactly why one of my main goals is to try and hit level 10 before Winter Veil ends. If we can do that, we'll be able to complete a few time-locked quests for some very helpful and much-needed XP. Thankfully, Winter Veil continues all the way through until January the 2nd, so we've got a bit of time. Before we move on, I also checked my mailbox, and my experiment with the auction house, it had mixed results. Only 2 out of the 5 ice-cold milks sold that I put up for auction at 94 copper each. Still, that's a profit, and early on I'll take anything I can get. But I did check the auction house again and noticed that the milk market is crashing since the last time. It's dropped to around 40 copper each. Even so, I relisted the remaining milks, hoping to squeeze out a little bit more quick cash if I can and get some profit. From there, I headed back out to Koronos. I picked up Ragnar Thunderbrew's cooking quest, which is an easy one. All I'd need to do for that is just buy the required recipes on the auction house. I also picked up ammo for Rumble Shot, which is pretty easy. The ammo was right nearby, and turning it in rewarded a huge 550 XP. Massive value for almost zero risk there. Next stop was back at Brunel Village once again, where I picked up a quest, the Perfect Stout. This quest requires collecting shimmerweed from trolls in the nearby mountains, and it rewards either a fur cloak with 9 armor or braces with 8 armor. Both of which I currently don't have, so this is a very nice upgrade. When I reached the troll camp though, things didn't really go quite as planned. Most of the camp had already been cleared out by someone, and the shimmerweed baskets were just basically sniped before I could get there. I did spot one basket, but I quickly realized I might be slightly too underleveled for this quest. The nearby trolls spotted me almost immediately and hit way harder than I was comfortable with. They may have had one too many shimmerweed brownies, so for now I decided to put this quest on the back burner and half back home. Back in Ironforge, I picked up the cheap crag boar ribs that I needed and made my way back to Koronos yet again. I bought some Rhapsody malt for 50 copper, completed another quest, and was rewarded with 625 XP, 1 silver, 75 copper, 5 beer-basted boar ribs, and a recipe to make them. This was definitely the biggest reward yet. With that done, I headed back to Stormwind and set my hearth there. While in the human capital, I picked up a fishing pole and learned apprentice fishing for just 1 silver. This is going to be extremely useful for money later on in the run, so best get started on this early. Before leaving, I also grabbed 4 chunks of boar meat for about 30 copper each, knowing they'd be needed for an upcoming quest. I headed over to the Stonefield farm and I picked up the Lost Necklace questline from Auntie Bernice Stonefield. This one's nice and easy. All I needed to do is run over to Billy McClure at the rival farm, which rewards 140 XP. Of course, Billy wants a pork belly pie, so it's back to the Stonefield farm again. I also picked up the Young Lovers quest from Maybelle McClure though before leaving. I handed in the 4 chunks of boar meat I bought from the auction house to Bernice for 410 XP. She gave me the pie, and I spoke to Tommy Joe, handing him the love letter for another 140 XP. He then asked me to speak with Grandma Stonefield, which was worth another 140 XP, and slowly we're getting closer to level 6. So I was heading back to Billy for the last part that I can do of the quest chain, but on the way, my PC crashed. Again. This time, I wasn't so lucky to be in stealth. I was out in the open, there was a hostile kobold nearby, and as far as I could tell, there were no other players around who could possibly save me. So under the pump, I quickly logged back in. And everything was fine. Still alive, baby. So I ran to Billy as fast as I could, turned in the pie for 140 XP, ran to Lion's Pride Inn in Goldshire, handed a note to William Pestle for another 140 XP, and I logged off for the day. I ended the session with 3.5 bars left to level 6, and at this point, the PC crashes have become a real problem. So before continuing the series, I've got to get it fixed. I had my PC properly looked at, fixed, and stress tested. The next day, with a fixed PC, I logged back in, ready to continue the journey. Hopefully, crash-free. So we're back in Goldshire for this second day of this video, and I had an important decision to make about how I was going to reach level 6. At this point, I had only 2 available quests, and both of them were quite dangerous under the wrong circumstances. I heavily considered the possibility of heading over to Darnassus instead. It'd just be a lot safer, but at this level, there's only really 2 ways that I can get there. Option 1 is to find a level 50 plus mage willing to portal me, which they may or may not charge me an arm and a leg for, and at this point, I barely have more than a few silver. There's also the bigger question of how much help I should actually allow myself from strangers and outsiders. This is a challenge video after all. The second option to get to Darnassus is to attempt the dreaded mountain run from Ironforge over the peaks of Dun Morogh into the wetlands and then swim through the crocolisk-infested waters to reach a boat to Kalimdor. It's doable, I've done it before, but it's just incredibly dangerous, especially at this low level. And given what we learned in episode 1, not only are the crocodiles issues, but gravity is an enemy not to be trifled with. After weighing it all up, I decided to take the risk that was right in front of me. I made my way over to Jasperlode Mine. Yes, that's the red quest in my quest log, but it's also a low-level zone. If other adventurers were already clearing the mine, I might be able to sneak in and out pretty safely. And luck, it seems, was on my side this day. I picked up 70 exploration XP on the way to the mine, spotted a handful of kobold corpses outside the entrance, and saw a priest and a warrior working together inside. That was my window. I slipped into stealth, reached the objective, and got out clean. 3 silver, 50 copper richer, 850 XP, and level 6 obtained. But with level 6, one of the Ultra Hardcore quirks kicks in. One of its harsher mechanics. Outside of inns and capital cities, from here on out, all action bars are hidden. That means no UI and no cooldown tracking. From here on out, I need to know every keybind my muscle memory. If you're an OSRS player, avert your gaze because this, my friends, is not clicker friendly. Regardless, Marshal Duggan has been the absolute MVP quest giver in this series, offering me yet another quest, this time sending me to Westbrook Garrison. Before leaving, I checked my mail again. 1 more ice cold milk had sold for about 39 copper. The remaining 2 hadn't moved yet, I'll just have to relist them later. Westbrook itself was pretty straightforward, 210 XP, but nothing I could safely complete. So I decided to do something productive, a full lap of Elwyn Forest, mining copper ores all along the way. Copper is huge for us right now. Not only is it early income, but because there's 2 relatively easy blacksmithing exclusive quests that I can do at a low level, it just requires a bunch of copper bars. The lap took me all the way through to Eastvale Logging Camp, just shy of Redridge border. There I picked up the quest, A Bundle of Trouble. Normally this area is patrolled by level 8 bears, level 9 to 10 wolves, and murlocs, so I assumed I'd have a lot of difficulty with this one, maybe some close calls. But somehow I had 0 issues. Like be praised, I guess. I turned it in for 3 silver and 775 XP, continued mining, and eventually made my way back to Goldshire. There I smelted my ores, sharpened stones, and ended up with 52 out of 75 mining and 20 out of 75 blacksmithing. For now, I don't plan on pushing blacksmithing beyond apprentice. I'll likely swap professions a few times throughout this run, and next up, I think I want to do herbalism. Not only for easy gold farms I know of, but there's also a quest in Darnassus. And speaking of Darnassus, while banking my goods in Stormwind, I noticed a level 57 human mage, so I decided to shoot my shot. I asked if she'd be willing to portal me to Darnassus, and somehow, she did it for free. I thanked her, and just like that, an entirely new continent was open to us. But now we've got to connect some flight paths, so while I'm on the boat making my way over to Orbiting, I want to discuss the matter of receiving help in this challenge. So, I think the fairest solution is to formalize it. Here's my idea. Per level, I gain one help token. Each token can be spent to receive help for one specific condition, such as a quest, a portal somewhere, summons, or bodyguarding me through a zone not quest related. As I'm level 6, I've already earned 5 tokens with this system, and I just spent one on that mage portal. Once I'm out of tokens, no help should be allowed until I level up again. Let me know in the comments if you like this system, and also tell me, should I earn bonus tokens for completing milestones, such as every 5 to 10 levels, or challenges that we can come up with? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. I dock in Orbiting, pick up a flight path, and immediately take a boat to Menethor Harbour to pick up the flight path there. Also, watch this absolutely thrilling photo finish of me getting back on the boat to Orbiting. What a championship caliber maneuver. Absolute gamer. Back in Darnassus, I found a priestess with a quest to visit the nearby Temple of the Moon for 85 XP. Not much, but every bit counts. I travelled to the starting area for Night Elves, Shadowglen, and I picked up a couple of quests there, the Woodland Protector and a Good Friend. I handed in the Woodland Protector for an easy 40 XP, and a Good Friend for 270 XP, which chained to another quest, a Friend in Need, for another 90. But that exhausted Shadowglen completely, so I picked up the delivery quest to Dolinar and moved on. In Dolinar, quests to visit Lake Al... Oh man, knife ear names, jeez. Lake Al-Ameth, and investigate Starbreeze Village, an area crawling with hostile furbolgs. I also handed in the delivery quest to the Innkeeper for 110 XP. Level 6 is looking much more manageable, with only 4.5 bars till level 7. But before leaving, I remembered that the cook might have a quest, so I tried to learn cooking for 1 silver, and sure enough, it unlocked. It's a pretty easy one, collect 7 spider legs. We'll have to visit the auction house again when we can. I travelled to the lake first, and I handed in for 230 XP. The elf Denellen gave me a quest to collect 12 Timberling Sprouts, and not only does this give us 3 silver 50 copper, but also gloves. I don't have gloves yet, so this was a huge upgrade. The roots were easy to collect, and handing it in gave 800 XP, pushing me into level 7. Lhaghass has never looked better. Next came Starbreeze Village. I stealth past 3 Nullspine warriors, with one coming dangerously close to spotting me. The quest giver though was dead. Learning his fate earned me 270 XP, and reporting back to Bearmantle rewarded another 550. He also had another quest that I picked up, the Relics of Awakening, but this is within a fairly convoluted cave system, so we'll definitely save that for later. With little else to do here, I hit the auction house, bought 7 small spider legs for just 11 copper each, and finished the Dolinar cooking quest for 625 XP. Made the long journey back to Ironforge to begin my blacksmithing quests. However, when I got to the Great Forge, there wasn't one. I'd misremembered that the requirement actually needed level 30 blacksmithing, not level 20. So I grinded out some more sharpening stones, I leveled up to 30 blacksmithing, and the quest thankfully became available. The first of the blacksmithing quests from Tormus Deepforge isn't too shabby, and it gives a very nice copper chain vest plan to learn. So I visited blacksmith trainers and learned the copper axe recipe. The belt, however, doesn't unlock until 35 blacksmithing, so I continued making rough sharpened stones, but ran out just shy of 35. At 34 blacksmithing. Perfect. I crafted out all the required axes, however I didn't have enough copper for the remaining belts, so I put the order on hold for now. In the meantime, I began looking at other ingredients on the auction house for a cooking quest I know of in Lhaghass. This one requires bear meat, boar intestines, and spider ichor, 3 of each. Bear meat, surprisingly cheap, but the intestines emptied my wallet. So I listed everything I could in my bag for sale. Sharpening stones, leftover boar ribs, ice cold milk, and headed back to Shimmer Ridge for another attempt this episode at the perfect stout quest. This quest is absolutely brutal, I do not recommend doing it. I'm just not high enough of a level to reliably sneak past these trolls. I kept getting spotted and chased. I then noticed a corpse which felt like a really bad omen. But I persisted and I decided to try across the bridge at a different camp. I managed to sneak through and pick up a couple of baskets before a seer ran at me and spotted me, striking me with lightning. These guys hurt, but I managed to escape down the mountain. I really had no other choice but just to keep trying and try again. So once I got back up, I found a basket that seemed unguarded and out of range of any trolls when this happened. That was my closest escape so far, playing this Ultra Hardcore add-on. I was left with only 6% health, and I was very lucky that the fall damage didn't kill me on that escape. While I was absolutely spooked, I had to see this done. At this point, I had 4 out of 6 shimmerweed collected, and I only needed 2 more. I've been here way too long, and then I saw a dwarf and a night elf working together to enter the camp. That was my chance. And as scummy as it felt, as they cleared the camp, I yoinked the final 2 baskets. and the chest in the middle. Listen, a dwarf's gotta do what a dwarf's gotta do. Anyway, I took the goat fur cloak as my reward for the perfect stout quest. I don't know how many capes we get through quests later on, and we can definitely find better braces later. Regardless, we get 775 XP for the effort. On the way back to Ironforge, I took the time to mine the remaining needed copper ore for my blacksmithing quest. I also noticed in the auction house that my stack of 20 rough sharpened stone sold for a massive 32 silver. Not only is this the most money that we've ever had up until this point, but once that money comes in, we can definitely use it to pick up the spider ichor that we need, and use it as some much needed capital to make more money down the line. So I smelted down the ores, crafted the 6 belts, and now all we need to do is travel to Lhaghass for the hand-in. Before that though, since the cooking quest is also in Loch, I decided to wait the time needed for the cash to come into the mail by doing a lap around Dun Morogh for some more copper ores. I also found a little bottle of water. Body of water, and got started on fishing, leveling up to level 38. After a heavy 1 silver 50 copper auction house tax, I picked up 31 silver from my mailbox and bought the remaining 3 spider ichor. I also picked up a couple of cooking recipes from Tansy Puddlefist, another really strange beardless female dwarf in the Forlorn Caverns. Sadly, I can't use the mudfish recipe I just bought from her until cooking level 50. So I got my cooking level to 16, cooking the brilliant fish, and began the journey from Ironforge all the way back to the southern outpost of Lhaghass. Thorvald Deepforge gave me 900 XP for the hand-in, and I walked through the Valley of Dwarven Kings, all the way to Stout Lager Inn, where I gave the recipes needed to Vidra Hearthstove for 875 XP, and officially leveling up to level 8. What a journey that was today, and as a pacifist, it doesn't get much easier. The next episode will be focused on trying to achieve level 10. I really do want to get that done before the Winter Veil festivities end. But until next time, have a happy Winter Veil, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any suggestions you'd like to see in a future episode, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, see you next time, goodbye for now.